Something very interesting just happened to the housing market in the United States. Although interest rates are rising rapidly along with prices, there seems to be no cool down happening in real estate. For many first time buyers, this market has become a 2-year nightmare. Starting in late 2019, prices have been jumping up, and each passing month a new expert emerges, always claiming that the crash is imminent. Now, over 24 months later, things have escalated to insane conditions, proving every previous crash prediction wrong. In today's video, we look at the latest housing data using this shocking report published by data journalist Lily Katz from Redfin.com. We begin with the obvious. Will there be a crash soon? We know that the median house price has risen nearly 17% in the past year alone. Today it reached $392,750. Along with this, mortgage rates have also nearly doubled, going from a record low of 2.65% in January of 2021 to 5.11% as of this week. This means not only have home prices exploded, but home payments have skyrocketed as well. This critical metric is what we should be using to judge affordability. Monthly payments are now up about 30% in just 1 year. Given these recent developments, it's reasonable to assume that sometime in the near future, we will begin to cool off as affordability becomes more and more of an issue. However, there is another side to this story. For example, in the report, a lot of attention is focused on the fact that month-over-month demand has declined for the first time since September. And while this is true, what we don't highlight is the fact that these demand numbers were absurd to begin with. So a small change down isn't really going to balance the market. Bidding wars are still extremely prevalent. 65% of Redfin home offers receive multiple bids. That means that most people out there looking for a home are usually forced to bid blind for it, a sad reality that introduces a lot of stress to an already stressful activity. A home purchase for most people will be the most expensive thing they will ever buy, and when you have to guess at the price, sometimes offering hundreds of thousands of dollars over the list cost, you can easily feel regret, embarrassment, and anxiety. And that's a national average. In San Jose, for example, 80% of listings face competition. It isn't rare to see exceptional listings receive dozens of offers. With inventory at record low numbers and America's largest generation coming to age, the demand is simply mind-boggling compared to the extremely limited supply. But you may be saying to yourself, it doesn't matter. Prices are way too high and there just isn't enough people out there with this kind of money to buy up these absurd homes. Well, here's the sad truth. Let me show you a quick example. In the United States, the average household income is $74,000 a year, while the average house today costs $393,000. This means that you'll pay around 5 times your yearly earnings for your average house. Obviously, with rates at 5%, affordability is getting stretched, but the reason I bring this up is because it's still a great deal when you compare it to places like Canada. As of February, the Canadian Real Estate Association reported that the average price of a Canadian home stood at 816,000 Canadian dollars or 646,000 US. That's over 9 times the average Canadian household income. To make matters worse, most mortgages up north are 25 years, not 30, and their interest rates tend to be variable from what I can understand. Based on these facts, it seems that the US market could run for much longer than what people believe. In fact, compared to Canadian numbers, it seems that it could double from here. Now, across YouTube, this isn't the common view. In fact, most creators are openly calling for a real estate crash, and the videos they are creating are getting hundreds of thousands of views. The evidence they provide is mind-boggling in many instances. Take for example this guy, a licensed real estate agent from California. He claims we're set for a 50% decline in prices by the summer. His reasoning? We'll take a listen.
This could be just a landslider though, because like I said, when you have lockdowns and pandemics and all of a sudden people rushing the market, and then all of a sudden you have builders that are potentially going to liquidate homes. We saw Zillow just liquidate tons of homes at a loss. So this is a realistic scenario. You have to understand this, folks. And like I said, these are investors. They're not emotional about dumping homes, and they will dump them at a loss. Barring a left field event, which could in fact happen, that could just be landslide this overnight, we're going to have a much different conversation. I've always said by Christmas time, I think we're having a much different conversation on the channel. I think it's going to be really navigating ourselves through the throes of an actual recession. This will play out. It doesn't happen typically overnight unless something comes out of left field. But even if we just continue on the path we're on, we're going to see a massive amount of inventory delivered, and builders will start liquidating homes is my anticipation, as they need to get these off their books. And it's going to be very hard as inflation has taken many people out of the buyer's market, along with rising interest rates along with that. They'll have no choice. You could in fact see half price brand new homes, and we might see those unfinished housing tracts where you go from dirt to foundation to framed to partially done to, and then it's just going to be, you're going to see the musical chairs potentially stop, and it's going to be insane. Buckle up and strap in. We're going to do our best to continue to heat map and temperature check, have an honest conversation, and try to save as many lives as we can.
And these comments are sort of shocking to hear from someone who proclaims to be a real estate expert. For one, let's say you actually believe the market is set to crash 50%. That would be the worst real estate crash in the history of this country. Even in 2008, when everything looked like it was headed to disaster, the median home price in America dropped 23%. To anticipate that prices will drop 50% is pure insanity. Now, I won't say it's impossible, but highly unlikely. Bubbles can go on for years and years, and even in recessions, prices have been known to keep going up. Now, I'm not saying this will be the case the next time around, but just as a final point, understand there is another side. In Japan, between 1956 and 1986, the price of land increased as much as 5,000%. At the peak of what they called the bubble economy, Tokyo real estate could sell for as much as $139,000 per square foot, which was nearly 350 times as much as equivalent space in Manhattan. By that measure, the Imperial Palace in Tokyo was worth as much as the entire US state of California. So yes, there is evidence that a housing market is developing, but it's not close to popping if we look at previous bubbles and current ones around the world. The demand is simply outrageous, and if you don't believe me, head over to a local open house and look around. I'm sure your mind will be changed rather quickly. Thank you guys for watching. As always, please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed it.